Welcome to our lecture on leases today. Let's get started. Think of this: you rent an apartment, you don't own it, but you have a powerful right, the right of exclusive possession. Leases are central to property law because they combine property rights with contract rights. Today we will walk through what a lease is, the different types, the duties on both sides, and how courts handle disputes. By the end, you will see why leases are one of the most practical areas of land law. Let's start with the basics. A lease is not ownership, it's a non freehold estate. What the tenant gets is exclusive possession, but only for a limited period. And remember, a lease is also a contract. So if there is a breach, the landlord or tenant can sue for damages or even specific performance. Leases come in different forms. A fixed term lease runs from an agreed period. A periodic tenancy runs week to week or month to month and ends when proper notice is given. In Moore versus Diamond, the court recognized that such a tenancy may even be implied. Then we have a tenancy at will, where the tenant stays on with the landlord's consent after the lease ends. Because a lease is a property right, it must be valid in law. At common law, a legal lease generally needs to be by deed, unless it's for less than 3 years. Section 54 of the Property Law Act allows that orally. And of course, a valid lease requires exclusive possession for a defined period. Without exclusive possession, it's not a lease at all. It's just a license, as made clear in Reddick versus Smith. For a lease to be valid, its length must be very clear and certain. If the term depends on something uncertain, such as winning Tats Lotto, it won't count as a lease. But not all uncertainty makes it void. In the case law such as Perpetual Trustee versus Smith, a life tenancy was allowed because it's a recognized type of lease. And even if the paperwork is not perfect, equity can still step in to uphold the lease if it would be unfair to deny it by any means. At common law, landlords and tenants each have duties. Landlords must keep premises habitable, as shown in Penn versus Getnex, and avoid foreseeable risk, such as cleared in Jonas versus Bartlett. They must also provide quiet enjoyment and not derogate from the grant, such as Brownie versus Flower is the classic case in this regard. Tenants, on the other hand, must use the place in a tenant-like manner, such as keep it maintained and tell the landlord of any defects, as explained in Denning L.J. Lease agreements usually spell out duties like rent, notice periods, or insurance. If they don't, standard covenants will be implied, as Hampshire versus Wickens shows. On top of that, in Victoria especially, legislation like the Residential Tenancies Act and the Retail Tenancies Act imposes extra statutory duties. A tenant can transfer the lease to someone else. That's an assignment. Or they can sublet part of the term. In Debonair Nominees, the court confirmed assignment doesn't create a new lease. Most leases restrict assignment or subletting, but the landlord must act reasonably, as Buckle versus Duke of Westminster shows. Here is why this matters in practice. Who can sue or be sued depends on privity of contract and privity of estate. Privity of contract binds the original parties, while privity of estate applies where covenants touch and concern the land. The test was clarified in P&A Swift versus Combined English Stores. If things go wrong, landlords can sue for damages or injunctions. A serious repudiatory breach lets them terminate, as in Progressive Mailing versus Tabali. Sometimes leases end by frustration, say if the premises are destroyed. They can also end by merger, when lease and reversion come together, or by surrender, when the tenant gives up possession and the landlord accepts it. So, to conclude, a lease is both a property right and a contract. It creates exclusive possession for a defined time, and it carries rights and duties for both landlord and tenant. The cases we have discussed, from Rediak to Tabali, show how the courts balance fairness and certainty. Keep these principles in mind, because leases are a classic topic for exams and practical disputes as well. So, to wrap up, remember this: a lease is both a contract and a property right. The courts will always ask whether exclusive possession exists or not, and whether the term is certain or not. Cases like Rediak versus Smith, Brownie versus Flower, and Tabali give you the framework for analysis. For exams purposes, don't just state rules, apply them. Ask yourself if their exclusive possession exists or not. Are duties breached or not? What remedy follows? Keep that structure in your mind, and it will help you score well in release problems questions. Good luck, and I will see you in the next lesson.